So hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome and welcome back to BSN Network. Hello everybody. Hopefully everybody's having a good weekend so far. I am your host for this YouTube channel. As today we will be having our Sunday show, Sunday football, fantasy, basketball podcast show here. Hopefully everybody's had a good weekend so far. Once again, only a Sunday show, so this is it. So let's get into it right here. We got a lot of stuff to talk about in fantasy football, fantasy basketball, and, obviously we'll be doing our game picks for football, which should be really fun. We'll be doing our game picks for that, and obviously that should be quite fun. So hopefully everybody's doing well, and let's get right into it here. So, obviously, last week we talked a lot about fantasy football and, some guys you should pick up off of waivers, some questionable stuff. There was some news that is elevated today about Davante Adams and his injuries. We'll roll through the injuries first. We'll roll through the bye weeks first, waiver wires, and then I'll roll through my starting lineup, kind of what it looks like, what your starting lineup might look like. Same routine as last week, just different players, maybe different situations. So kind of same thing. So this week, I'm entering the week 3 and 5. I lost last week in one of my leagues and won in one of them. In one of my leagues, I won 149 to 71. And then the other week, I put up 80 points. So in my other league, I put up 80 points. So I had quite the difference. One league, I had my players overachieved, did insane. And the other league, I had 80 points. So it all depends. This is the whole thing about fantasy. You could have a great week in one league and a horrible week in the other, and that's what the fun part about fantasy, because you never know. It's very unpredictable. A guy could have 20 points one week in fantasy, next week he could have 3. It's totally unpredictable. You can never predict anything. Projections don't mean anything. I was projected higher in both leagues. I only won in one of them, and obviously, I was projected 100 in one league, got over 149, projected, I think, 100 in one league and went under it. So I went under 90, I had 80 points. So obviously, it should be interesting. So right now, the London game is going on. If you all don't know that, the London game is going on right now, which means that some teams are playing at the moment. The Jaguars and the Texans are playing at the moment. I have got Leonard Fournette in. I know this is kind of a little bit of a late call. Who's ever watching this show, it's kind of going to be later. But just for now, if you did have Leonard Fournette in, I think he's going to turn it up right now. I got the game on. Right now, there's 13:36 left in the second quarter. 3-0. Houston is winning. Fournette's only got 1 point at the moment in my league. So it all depends. It should be interesting to see how this rest of this game tails out. I think he's going to have a decent game. But I did start him. The Texans D, they were without one of their key players in Jadeveon Clowney. So I think that's going to help out Fournette a lot. I do say, though, I think he's going to turn it up here. He only had 1 point. He hasn't gotten many rush plays. I think they're going to give him the ball more here in the second half, or in the second quarter and throughout the game here, so it should be interesting. Earlier today, breaking news, there was some news that came out about Davante Adams. Obviously, he had the turf toe incident many weeks ago against Philadelphia. He's been out ever since. Adams is likely a game-time decision for many reporters. A report came out from Ian Rappaport. Adams' toe is expected to be available for Sunday's game against the Chargers, but will still likely go through a pregame workout to test his availability. Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network reports. So he's kind of an up and down. He's kind of a up in the air decision. I can't really make that decision when you put him in. I have him in at the moment. He's playing a banged up he's playing up with just not a good Chargers team. Although they're coming up of a big win. I still don't trust that Chargers team. I think Packers right now are by far have one of the best offenses in the NFL, if not the best offense in the NFL. I mean, with Rodgers, and it goes to show you, too, that, they're doing insane without Adams. I think Adams is going to add a very, very, very good kind of another receiver into that lineup. Obviously, Adams has been out, which has been, kind of frustrating for my fantasy team. But Davante Adams is a game time decision. That game comes on at 4:25. It's the midday games. It's kind of the evening games there. Hope they'll be playing the Chargers. They're at the Chargers. I say, don't worry. I think he'll play. I'm pretty sure he'll play. A lot of insiders, a lot of people, I've been reading a lot of stuff. I've been hearing a lot of stuff. I think people that I trust, I believe that he's going to play. I will start him too against this lineup. I think coming off of the turf toe, it might take him maybe a quarter. I say maybe a quarter and a half, less than that, to groove back into things. But I think he's going to be Rodgers again, main target again. I don't think anything's going to change. I say start Davante Adams, even though he's questionable. He should play, and if he does, I really do think he could put up over 13 points this week. I think he's going to have a touchdown and a lot of yards. Chargers secondary, Derwin James obviously has been out. The Chargers secondary is kind of, they've been destroying every team. This Packers team with their offense has been very, very good. So obviously it should be interesting there. So I've got a lot of people on my bench right now. I'm going to go through some players. T.Y. Hilton was ruled out against Pittsburgh this week, so he won't be playing. He's a bench player. I wouldn't say give up on T.Y. yet. He's been injured. He didn't have a good week last week, and now he's injured again. I don't give up on him yet. He's obviously his past couple weeks haven't been great. He was out against Oakland, then he had 3 points against Kansas City, then he had a bye week, then he was in. Then he was in. Hold up, sorry about that. Sorry. My phone my notes here kind of got out of order. So then he was in against Houston, and he got 13 points, 1 touchdown. Then last week he was out against Denver, who's a bad Denver D. That Denver team can't do anything right. So he got 5 points then. To be honest, he didn't have a bad game. Looking at the game, he had 2 receptions for 54 yards. That's pretty good. That's almost 25 yards per reception. That's a pretty good game. For fantasy, 5 points isn't enough. Now he's at Pittsburgh this week. He's ruled out for that game. The calf issue that could sideline Hill in 3 to 4 weeks with a non-contact injury that wideout sustained at a Wednesday practice. Joel Ackerstein of Indianapolis Star reports. So he could be out a couple weeks. He could be out 3 to 4 weeks. I don't say give up on T.Y. yet, unless if there's a big name receiver out on your waiver wire. If there's a guy I don't give up on T.Y. yet. 3 to 4 weeks, and I do believe that he's gonna be. I don't say give up on T.Y. yet, unless if you've got a big name receiver out there, maybe somebody dropped him, or some people might be dropping. I don't want to say yet, but some people might be dropping Julio. Because he's only had one good week this year, and that was the 14 points week. So some people, it all depends. T.Y., I do not say give up on him yet, but you gotta watch here. If he's clogging up your bench and he's going to be out 3 to 4 weeks, I say do not give up on him yet, but definitely keep an eye on him, because, he could be placed on IR or anything. This quad has bothered him a lot. So keep an eye on him. I do say keep him in your lineup, but just in case, keep an eye on him. Make sure that he's not on IR, because sometimes they pull sneaky moves like that and they put these guys on IR and you have no clue. So T.Y. will be out. Kamara, Julio Jones, Will Lutz, and A.J. Green are all on buys. I picked up A.J. Green just because I think he'll play next week. He's questionable. Matt Stafford against Oakland. I'm benching him this week, but I think he could definitely start. He's playing Oakland. Defense is all right. He's coming off of a good week last week. I think he put up 22 points, a couple of touchdowns. So I really believe here that you got to go out, and I think if you want to, you could start Stafford. Stafford can be a starter. I've got Dak in against a bad Giants defense. I don't think Leonard Williams is going to do. Leonard Williams might do a little, but I don't think he's going to make a game changer where Dak's got to really get flushed out of the pocket. But I think Matt Stafford could be a starter if your other quarterback's on a bye, or if you have Pat Mahomes as a quarterback, he could be another starter. I'm starting him in one league, benching him in the other, just because Just some players that I would note. Dak Prescott, I'm putting him in against the Giants. This is kind of been a Cowboys team that's been a little bit finicky the past couple weeks. Ever since that loss to the Jets, it's kind of seemed like, they're kind of, it's going to be interesting. I really do think that bye week couldn't have come at a better time. And the reason I say that is because that bye week couldn't have come at a better time. They're not looking great. They're not looking great right now. Kind of the bye week was kind of a time to refresh, regroup, and now you play a very, very, very bad Giants defense, Giants team in general. I say put him in. I do think the Giants might bring up a little bit more of a fight. I think, just because, it's obviously Monday Night Football, under the bright lights, primetime game. They're kind of going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder. Players are going to be rival, Cowboys, Giants, that heated rivals. So I think it's going to be maybe a little bit more of a, it might be interesting. I don't think Dak's going to have an unreal game, but I think he'll put up, last time he played the Giants, he had 405 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 33 points. I say this week he gets 2 touchdowns and about 17 to 20 points. I think he'll have an average game there. Phillip Lindsay, I've got starting in one league, benching him in the other. Phillip Lindsay's playing a Cleveland team. If you look at the sit-ems and start-ems, he's one of the guys to start him, so I'm trusting that. I do say start Lindsay. Only because they're playing a Cleveland team. This Cleveland team can't seem to do anything right. Obviously, I am starting Fournette. Amari Cooper, I've also got starting. Devontae Adams, a game-time decision. I've got him starting at the moment. You always want to have that backup plan, though. DK Metcalf, I've got starting as well. Only because my other receivers are on a bye week. I picked him up of waivers. I think DK Metcalf's going to be good off of waivers. If you're looking for a receiver and he's available and he's out there, I say look at DK Metcalf. He's been Wilson's kind of main threat this season. He's been very good. You're always used to hearing the names Tyler Lockett, names like that. You're not really hearing them much more. You're hearing DK Metcalf a lot. DK Metcalf playing up against a Buccaneers team that is a very weird team. They've got a good D, but their offense is not good. But they show flashes on both sides of the ball. They show flashes, but they just can't seem to put all these games together. I say DK. I don't know, it's kind of like a John Brown situation last week. I don't know if he's gonna have a great game. I don't think he's gonna have a horrible game. It's gonna be in the range from 8 to 10 points, and he'll have an average game. If he's out there on waivers, I would say pick him up, unless obviously you got another big name. I'm starting Mark Andrews against New England tonight. I think he's gonna have a good game. I think Lamar Jackson, is going to target him a lot because I feel like some of his other main threats might be covered by some the other guys. Gilmore, their knockout secondary that Patriots got. It's going to be a tougher game. Baltimore's obviously home. They've got the home field advantage. I say Mark Andrews has a decent game. I say he has about 10 points, a touchdown. I think he'll get a couple nice plays, a touchdown. Zach Ertz I've got against Chicago, and I've got Cowboys D against Giants. Giants offense can't do anything. Cowboys defense, I think, is very underrated. I really believe that the Cowboys defense is very underrated. I believe they have a good defense coming off of a bye week. They're fresh. They're ready. I think the Cowboys are going to come right at them. I got Cowboys D and then obviously Justin Tucker and against New England. That guy's just reliable as all heck. He's one of the best kickers in the game, if not the best kicker in the game. He's so reliable. Let's take a look at the waiver wire here. So here's the waiver wire. For my league, I've got quarterbacks. The top 3 are Gardner Minshew, Derek Carr, and Phillip Rivers. Derek Carr might have a decent game. I don't know how he's going to really fare. Not too many big guys. Some of these players, just for example, some running backs that are out there. Jalen Samuels getting the start, obviously, because James Conner looks like he's not going to start. So Jalen Samuels getting the start. He's projected 13. They're playing Indiana. That's a defense that just is it's kind of like they've got a good offense, but their defense just can't seem to, get much there. Adrian Peterson playing Buffalo. He's projected 10. I don't believe in that. Buffalo, I say he's got a top 15D in the league. They've got a very underrated defense. I believe that Buffalo's got it. Like I really do, and I know I know there are rivals and all that, but I really believe Buffalo's got a very, very good defense. They get an offense, they are set. Their defense is very underrated. They run a lot of really, really good plays. Defensive coordinator, I feel like is very smart. I don't know who it is. I don't know that much about that team, but I know up front linebackers Edmonds or whatever Tremaine, whatever his name is. Tremaine Edmonds or whatever. He's a really good player. Kenyon Drake obviously played against San Francisco. Mark Walton projected 8 against the Jets. That's debatable. Jets' D hasn't been the same ever since Mosley kind of got out week 1. Their D hasn't been the same. Mark Walton might be a start. Frank Gore, I think, might be a start against Washington. Those are just some of them, obviously. Ty Johnson, I would recommend not starting him. Last week, he did nothing. I know he got injured, I think, a little bit early onto the game, but he really did nothing. Ty Johnson's out on waivers. I don't think he'll be a bad player to pick up, but if you're really, really desperation, I guess you could take Ty Johnson, somebody like that. Top wide receivers, Michael Gallup, Robbie Anderson, Kenny Stills, who's got 3 right now. Robbie Anderson's, I think, is going to have a decent game. A lot of people expect, Bell and Anderson to have breakouts game against Miami. This is like, the Jets season's pretty much over, but this is where, like, the Jets players can get momentum. Like, this is where Bell can just break out and be Bell. Like, Bell can have a good game here. Like, I know it's against Miami, I understand, but if Bell gets at least a 1 or 2 touchdown game and over 100 yards, that would be big. That would be big. That would give him a ton of momentum. Robbie Anderson, obviously, Kenny Stills there. Michael Gallup against the Giants. I don't know what Michael Gallup will do. I think he'll do all right. I really do believe that it's going to be mostly Amari Cooper. When he's in that lineup, it's kind of just Amari Cooper. And that's kind of what we've got. Obviously, for next week, Kenyon Drake might be a guy off of waivers if he's a waiver in your league. He had a really good week, 24 points. So it should be interesting. So here we go. So now this is on to my other league. Obviously, I've got almost the same thing. Pat Mahomes is questionable this week. He's projected 0. They play Minnesota as one of the first games. I don't think he's going to play. I don't think he should play. Mahomes' kneecap, who's listed as questionable for Sunday's game against the Vikings, isn't expected to play. Adam Schefter of the ESPN report. So if you guys had him in, I think I did have him in at the beginning of the week because he was projected points. If you had him in, take him out, bench him. Don't give up on him, like I said before, yet. I am benching Lindsey. I think Lindsey could have one of 2 weeks. He could have a breakout week or he's going to have a bad week. There's no really in the middle with Lindsey. He's going to have a bad week or a breakout week. Mark Andrews, I've got on my bench in one league because I'm starting Darren Waller, who has just been unbelievable. I say if you have Waller and you have Andrews or you have 2 really good tight ends, Waller's been insane this season. He's been putting up numbers not many tight ends have been putting up in a while. This is a guy that obviously he's getting a lot of receptions, a lot of touchdowns. This is a very, very, very good tight end, Pro Bowler, more than likely. Cooper Kupp, Jared Goff, AJ Green are all on buys in my other league. Mark Andrews, I think you could start him. Obviously, I'm taking Waller over him. Waller's playing a Detroit team, and once again, I don't believe he's got the best defense in the league. Sony Michel at Baltimore. I think it'll be an all-right game. I think that Baltimore defensive front, I think that's a little underrated. I think they don't have a bad defense, Baltimore. I do think Michel will have a decent game, probably around 9-10 points. I'm benching him, but once again, if it's between him and Lindsey or something, I would take Michel over him at the moment. In my other league, this is my team. I got Stafford, Barkley, Matt Stafford, Saquon Barkley, Chris Carson, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Darren Waller, Devontae Adams, Bears defense, and Justin Tucker. Top overall quarterbacks, Winston, Allen, Minshew. Minshew's obviously playing right now, so I'm not even going to really talk about the Jaguars players at the moment because it's kind of useless talking about them because they're playing right now. By the time you see this, it's either you put them in or you didn't put them in. So you got Minshew. Winston, against that Seattle D, I don't believe that he's going to have that great of a game. He hasn't been able to put up the numbers that they expected since they drafted him. I mean, this guy's been horrible. Horrible. I mean, he's been one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. He's been horrible. I mean, he's throwing at least 2-3 picks a game and throwing one or 2 touchdowns. it's not like he's throwing 3 picks, but he's throwing like 7 touchdowns. This is a guy that's throwing a couple picks a game and throwing just a couple touchdowns. So obviously, this is going to be an interesting game for him. Josh Allen playing Washington. This is a really booster game for the Bills. They're coming off of a loss. I think this offense just needs to find something. This offense hasn't clicked yet. Allen's one of those guys that we've seen flashes, but just not enough to really call him, we've seen flashes out of him, but just not enough to really call him a good quarterback. He's all right. He's just average. He's not a great quarterback, but he's not a bad one. He's right in the middle. He's shown flashes of really being really good, and then he shows flashes of, why did we draft this guy? So, he showed flashes against the Miami game that way. He showed flashes of, oh, yeah, this guy's going to be awesome, and showed flashes of this guy, why did we draft him? So Allen, I think, is going to have a decent game. I do believe that Dolphins are going to give him a little bit more run through their money than what the Redskins are going to do. I just think the Redskins, they're just awful. Even though they're a 1-win team, they're awful. They're just tough quarterbacks. Samuels, Hyde, and Drake are in my one league. I'm not going to really talk about that because we just did. Samuels, I think, will have a decent game. Hyde and Drake are already played. Top receivers, Marvin Jones Jr., Williams, and Anderson. Williams, I think, will have a decent game. Oakland receiver. Derek Carr's kind of main target at the moment. Marvin Jones Jr., I think, will bounce back after having a tough week last week. Obviously, after everything, I think that 4-touchdown game the week before that. I think he'll have another game. I think he'll have about 1 touchdown this week and maybe, I want to say 100 yards, but maybe 70 yards or so, 13, 14 points about, something like that. I really believe that this, there's a lot of good receivers out there. There's a lot of underrated good receivers out there on the waiver wire. I believe in every league. Every league I feel like it. Obviously, I think, some of the receivers out on the waiver wire, they get underrated. They get very underrated because of the way, they're very underrated because they're on waiver wire. But there's a lot of good guys out there on waivers. There really is a lot of good guys on waivers. I believe in the receiving core. This is, that's kind of what it is. Obviously, you always got the flex option. You always, Aaron Jones, obviously a very good player who I've got on my watch list. He's not on waivers. So, I think it's going to be interesting. So this should be a fun week in fantasy. Once again, Davante Adams, game time decision. I say start him. I do think he'll play. Questionable with projected points. I think he'll play. It's also about time. Turf toe. It does hurt, but I really do think it's about time for him to start. So now let's get into basketball, and we'll do our game picks, and then we're going to, All right, so here we go. So, in my basketball league, I did win last week. I'm 1-0. I did win. I won. I forget the score. I think I won by a good amount. I had one day where I had a couple players in, and my opponent had a lot, and I somehow got more points than him, and that was kind of I took it and ran with it. That's the thing about fantasy basketball. That's the thing with it. It's you really have one day where all your players play really good and your opponents play not that good, and you kind of take it and run with it. That kind of has happened to me already with this matchup. My opponent had one day, which was yesterday. His players only produced 30 points, and I'm winning him. I'm beating him right now, 704 to 490. Looks like I'm gonna get the win. Tonight I got Westbrook, Harden, Buddy Hield, Kristaps Porzingis, Luka Doncic, Boban Bogdanovic, and Kyle Kuzma all playing if Kuzma's in. Doncic, it looks like it's a day-to-day. We don't know yet, but Doncic went to training room for stitches on the back of his head following Friday's lawsuit. He finished with 31 points and 15 assists. Spin Doncic was spotted receiving treatment to a cut on near his ear. Ended the matchup. So he got stitches. sometimes what the doctors do with the stitches is like in sports they do it. I don't think they'll rush him back only because it's like the 7th and 8th games of the season. I don't think they'll rush him back, but sometimes what they do, they did this to Trevor Bauer a couple years ago in the MLB. I think it was I don't know if it was the ALCS. No, was it the ALCS? No, it was the AL. No, it was the ALCS because I think that was the year that they won it all. So, or no, they lost to the Cubs. So I think it was the ALCS, and in the Indians, Trevor Bauer, he got put in with stitches in. He had stitches on his pinky, and what the doctors did is they like stitched him up, but then they put like some weird coating over it, and which like kind of like kept the stitches intact because they needed him to go out there and pitch. So they kind of put like a coating in it so then the stitches wouldn't rip because you're not supposed to. I've had stitches twice before. You're not supposed to run around with stitches or do really much with when you have stitches, especially in like a sensitive area. Like I had stitches 2 times on my leg. I'm not supposed to be running around or else the stitches are going to come loose. It's a different story, on your hand too, on your hand or anywhere else. But, if you got stitches like, on the back, like your ear or something, that I don't think really matters much. But on his hand, sensitive area, throwing hand too. That was his throwing hand. They kind of put a coating over it, almost like not really like a rubber. I don't know what the exact thing is. Not really like a rubber cement, but like a coating to keep the stitches intact. Sure enough, the stitches end up ripping off and you gotta get taken out of the game. But I don't think they'll do that, but they might do that to Doncic. If they do, he'll probably play. If they don't, I don't know if he's going to be able to run around. You risk falling on your head again or you risk injuring that spot again. Jumping up for rebounds, they're jumping up for rebounds, you hit it or whatever the case may be. That's kind of the worrisome part. He's day-to-day. We don't know yet if he'll play or not. Kuzma did not have a great game, but Kuzma ankle is probable for Sunday's matchup against Spurs, so it looks like he'll play. He's getting back into the groove again. That was his first game. Let him be, get back into the groove. I think he'll be a good player. At the moment, I got Tatum, Murray, and Cat Lowry on my bench because they're not playing today. Westbrook and Harden are doing their thing, and obviously, this is my whole team right now. Draymond Green is out. I couldn't really grip the ball. He has a torn ligament. He's expected to be out a couple games. Green finger will be sidelined the next few games, Anthony Slater, the Athletic report. So he has a torn ligament. I think it is, right? Torn ligament in his finger. I don't really know if it's I don't really know if it's I don't know how bad it is. They said over the next few games, I think it will be a decent time, maybe 5, 6, 7 games or about, games there. But he's out, so I would not recommend starting him. I have him in my starting lineup at the moment only because he's not playing tonight. I'll adjust it later. He's out. Some players on waivers that you might want to pick up. If this would load. Stephen Curry obviously is out. He is out. He is out for at least 3 months with that broken wrist. So that's going to be interesting. Obviously, John Morant, Bledsoe are top point guards now. Shooting guards, Wiggins, Van Vliet, and LeVert. LeVert's played very well. LeVert has played very well. He had a very good game yesterday. Obviously, we just couldn't able to finish it. But obviously, now you look power forwards to replace Draymond. You look at Serge Ibaka as being an option. You look at players like that being an option, obviously, to replace. If you have Draymond, waiver wire's got some good power forwards, some good big men out there like that. So now we head in here to my whole roster. I'll just run through it really quickly. I got Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Tobias Harris, Draymond Green, Jared Allen, Buddy Hield, Kristaps Porzingis, Luka Doncic, Bojan Bogdanovic, Kyle Kuzma, Jason Tatum, bench Jason Tatum, Jamal Murray, Jamal Murray and Kyle Lowry. So that's who I got on my team there. So now it is time for some NFL Sunday game picks. Let's just get them up here. We got this as the show kind of winding down here. What is it? We're about at 30 minutes about. We'll probably do the game picks for about 10 minutes or so. All right. So let's get into it here. So the game picks for Sunday here, NFL. So the game picks here for Sunday, 49ers Cardinals. I had the 49ers winning. I'm not lying about that one. Not lying about that. I had the 49ers winning. I did. I don't do that. I don't lie. I'm not like that. So I had the 49ers winning. I mean, most people, I think, predicted 49ers beat the Cardinals. I mean, they were heavy favorites. Yes, they only won by 3. They played a decent game, though. I do have the Texans winning at the moment. I had the Texans winning this game, too. I had them winning. At the moment, though, they are winning by 6. It's not looking too great for the offense. It's kind of a low-scoring game, only 9-3. Have it on. 36 seconds. Looks like I've got it on, but I don't really know if the Texans got 2 field goals or whatever the case may be. But whatever it is, it's looking interesting. So the Bears-Eagles, we're going to get into this one here. So Bears-Eagles, this is a big game for the Bears. This could really make or break the Bears season. You wonder with the Bears, like, is their offense going to ever find a groove? What's wrong with their offense? Bears, I think, will rebound after that loss, win against the Eagles. The Eagles are home. I do see the Bears winning this one. I say the Bears win. It's going to be a close game, but I think the Bears pull it out. Vikings-Chiefs. This is going to be a fun game. These are kind of 2 higher-powered offenses, a high-powered defense versus a high-powered offense, and the Vikings versus Chiefs. Chiefs don't have a high-powered D, but the Vikings do. I think I got the Vikings winning. Mahomes is out. They looked decent last week, the Chiefs, against the Packers. But I really just don't believe this team's going to win without Mahomes. I think Mahomes is kind of them. Vikings, too, have a very, very, very good defense. So I got Vikings winning against the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs will stick around in the first half, but I think the Vikings win by at least 2 scores in the end of it. Colts, I take that back. I got the Vikings winning by 1 score. I think it's going to be a close game. Colts, Steelers. I got the Colts winning this game. I got the Colts, coming out, rebounding after last week's win, rebounding, and I think they're going to, I think that bounce back. I think the Steelers are going to have to bounce back from that win. I know they won, but it was an ugly win. That first half was horrible. You eliminate the second half, they lose that game. That first half was horrible. I do think the Colts will be able to go into Pittsburgh and win the game. Jets-Dolphins, we'll preview this game in a little bit. Redskins-Bills. This is going to be an interesting game. I got the Bills winning, but I don't got the Bills winning by a lot. I do have them winning by a lot. I think that the the Redskins are going to stick around in the first half. It's going to be, by the end of the first half, 14-10, 14-7, somewhere around there, 17-10, somewhere around there by the end of the first half. And then I think the Bills will take in a run with it. I think the Bills put up at least 30 points, and I think the Redskins will only put up about 14 to 10 points right there. I think they run away with the game, and they win by at least 2-3 scores. I think the Redskins will keep it close early, but the Bills will run away with the game. So Bills, I got them winning. Titans-Panthers. This will be an interesting game. 2 kind of decent teams. One kind of really, really struggling team. Panthers not really struggling. Yes, they lost last week, but obviously I think, this is a team headed more into the right direction than the Titans are. We did get word this morning that earlier today, that Cam Newton's going to miss some more time. You wonder if he'll even be back at the end of this season, or have to go back this season. I give the Panthers a win here. I think it's going to be a low-scoring kind of game. 2 good defenses going at it. 2 offenses going at it. I have a low-scoring, only maybe 2-score game, meaning like 2 scores for each team, 17-14, 14-10, something like that. It's going to be a low-scoring game, I think. Lions-Raiders. These 2 teams are almost the same kind of feel to them. I have the Lions. I have the Raiders, I feel like, are going to bring up a fight. I think the Lions are going to bring up a fight. I think the Lions will win, and here's why. I think Stafford's going to have another good game, and I think Marvin Jones Jr. is going to have a good game. I just don't think this defense is going to be able to take it. I have the Lions winning this game close by a field goal or so. It's going to be a close game, going to come down to the last drive or so. But it's going to be a close game. I got the Lions winning them. Buccaneers, Seahawks, I got the Seahawks winning big. I got them putting up a lot of points in the first half, a lot of points in the second half. It's going to be a shootout. Not shootout. I think the Seahawks are going to have a fun time. They're going to be going all over this team. I have the Seahawks win by big. Packers, Chargers. I just don't think the Chargers are going to really get on a roll here. I mean, everybody's talking about, second half teams. Who do you think's going to win? Some people have the Chargers some people have the Chargers doing some good things, finishing 9-7. I don't believe that. I think it was when they won one game. They won one game. That's all it was. I give the Packers a win. Packers are going to knock the Chargers back to himself. 2-3 scores, final score of this game. Browns, Broncos. This is going to be a fun game. It's going to be an interesting game. Kind of two even teams, I say, going at it. You've got two offenses and two and kind of bad defenses. The Broncos D has not been good. The Browns hasn't been great, but I really believe that the Browns D is probably better. It's kind of a crappy, and not really a crappy game, but it's kind of an game. It's not really like, oh, woo, this is beautiful. This is one of the greatest games here. Like, it's not really that. It's an interesting game. I say the Browns are going, I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going to say the Browns win, just because this Broncos team just can't seem to do anything right. So I've got the Browns winning this game, close game, 21-17, something like that, close kind of game like that. Ravens, Patriots. I don't really know about this game. I think the Ravens are a good team, just they've never had the great history, primetime football against the Patriots. I give the Patriots the win here. I do think that the Ravens are going to put up a fight. And I mean, not just for the first half, but for the second half. It's going to be a close game. I say Patriots either win it with a game-winning drive or something like that. It's going to be a close game. I do not want to say the Patriots are going to win, but I think the Patriots will win this game, but I hope that the Ravens will because I just hate the Patriots. Cowboys, Giants. I think the Giants are going to surprise many people, and I don't think by a lot, but I really do think that the Giants are going to surprise a lot of people. I believe that the Giants are going to come out primetime football Monday night under the bright lights. Are going to come out and I think give the Cowboys a little bit of a run for their money. I think they might be trying to catch the Cowboys off guard. They might be expecting that the Cowboys are just going to think this is an easy cakewalk game, an easy walkthrough, an easy fly in and fly out kind of win. Fly in, fly out kind of win. I think they're going to catch the Cowboys off guard. I do think the Cowboys in the end win this game, but I think it's going to be more difficult than people think. I have the Cowboys winning this game 28-21. I'll have them winning this game. I think it's going to be a decent game, but I just believe that, I think the Giants are going to stick around for most of the game, but they're going to give them a run for their money, but I have the Cowboys winning this game. Alrighty, so that's my game picks here. I still got to do the Jets, Dolphins here. Yeah, man, this is the game of the week right here. Jets, Dolphins. This is for all the marbles. Whoever wins this going to the Super Bowl. This is such a bad game. I mean, I'm a Jets fan. I'll obviously watch it, but boy, this game ain't going to get good. This game ain't going to get good ratings. Tell you that for sure. So the Jets at Dolphins, 1-6, 0-7. Jets are 3-point favorites. I obviously can tell I'm a big Jets fan. I would love to see the Jets win this game. As much as I want them to win this game, I don't really know if they will. They just can't do anything right. Offensively, defensively, at all stages of the game, they can't seem to do anything right. And it's kind of funny, at the beginning of the season, the problem was the special teams. They've got that figured out, and now they have more problems. This is just a franchise that can't seem to do anything right. I'm going to say that the Jets here pull it out. I think they will win. I've got them winning, though. I really do. I think they'll win this game. I don't think it's going to be a good game. I think the Jets are going to make it close. I think the Dolphins are going to make it close. I think it's going to be an ugly game. I think two turnovers by each team, I think, maybe, or so. Something like that. It's going to be an ugly game. Low-scoring game. I'm going to say the Jets win this game 17-10, and I'm going to say this because the Dolphins, I think, are not really purposely losing, but they're kind of just tanking to get that first-round pick. Get Tua, start new, they're stripping down this team, make this team a winning team again, and I think the Jets will win this game. I got the Jets winning 17-10, but it's going to be an ugly game. It's going to be a game that the Jets, a win is a win, but I don't think the Jets are going to be too proud about it. They're 1-6. I think the Jets will move to 2-6, and the Dolphins will move to 0-8. I got the Jets winning 17-10 this game. It's going to be an interesting game. I definitely do think that it's going to be an ugly game, but I got the Jets winning here. Alrighty. So, that's what we got here for that. I do think it's going to be a fun football. I will try to get the pod up by before the game, so then the fantasy holders and all that can watch me before the games. So then because I give out tips and stuff, so then you know who you could put in and who not to put in and all that. So that's just some things there. Let's see here what's going to happen here in the end of the first half. So Minshew drops back. 2 seconds. So Texans head into the half 9-3 lead. At the half here. So 9-3 at the half. So that's going to be interesting. There, I'll probably watch the rest of that game and then watch the 1 o'clock games and all the rest of the games there. Obviously, watch the Jets game. Alrighty, so hope you enjoyed it. This is, I've been liking this series so far. Hope you have enjoyed it. Hopefully hopefully the tips work out for you guys, who to start and all that. Hopefully, compare the game picks. Hopefully I do well in the game picks. Hope you enjoyed it. And, like always, thanks for watching.